this. Some really cool concepts from Dishonored 2 game. So if you see, these are like, kind of having realistic details, but slightly stylized proportions. We thought these will be really cool for sculpting. So you can see a lot of wrinkle details are there in the face. Really strong features. If you see the skull shape, that cheekbone, really strong nose, eye bag, those sort of details will look really cool, we thought. This could cover realistic as well as stylized. Yeah, if you guys choose one from here, we'll do the sculpt. This guy is cool. I think he looks really cool. He has really got strong nose, mouth features. I'll let you know if you guys have any other choice. Because we just have like 1 to 1.5 hour for sculpting, and then we had some more time for Q&A. So I thought pick something kind of moderate. Well, this guy is cool. The cheekbone, the protruded mouth, and then prominent forehead and hairstyle. This guy could be really cool. I think probably let's go with the last guy. Yeah. Let's see this. Okay, so this is just a demo. I'm not going to teach you guys Zbrush. Maybe I'll talk about the features a little bit here and there, but we don't have time to teach. But I can talk a little bit of the tools, what I use, and how it differ from other softwares, and then how does it differ from a traditional medium of sculpting. So those things I'm going to talk about. Yeah. Just a minute, guys. Someone asked me to share the link. Usma, people keep, okay, they joined. Great. Let's get started. So first to talk about Zbrush. Zbrush is a tool. So much different from a typical 3D softwares. So if you guys know Maya, it was ruling the industry for almost 2 decades, still is ruling the industry. But the approach for the Maya is completely different. And then Zbrush is completely broke all the rules. It came with completely new set of tools, and then the method of sculpting. So when Maya is come, very few people from artistic background shifted to 3D because Maya has a lot of technical tools, and you need a lot of technical knowledge to become a strong 3D modeler. And Zbrush, that's not the case, So it's very artist friendly software, and then the best part, it mimics the features of traditional sculpting. How people do clay sculpting or stone carving? It's pretty much the same actually. So that's how it works. So the Zbrush. So yeah, so if you're doing in Maya, I do a lot of planning before I start the sculpting. But in Zbrush, I don't need to worry about all those things. I can just how any clay modeler just take a simple piece of clay and start building stuff. Like it's as simple as that. So I took a basic sphere. So from here, I can do all the sculpting part actually. So for example, to talk about clay modeling, so how does it work is basically they keep adding more clay on top of it, They keep applying clay on top of it to get the shape. So that's how things works in clay modeling. So they call it applying method, applying on top of it, or adding method actually. So that's how the clay works. So if you go to stone carving, they remove it actually, So they remove the stuff from the stone and then try to get the shape. That's called removal process. If you see, I'm just removing the details from here, right? See there I'm adding, and here I'm removing actually. This is a different process, yeah. So these are the two traditional way of sculpting. Adding method is mostly, in clay modeling, people keep adding clay on top of it to build, and stone carving, so they remove the details. So that's how it works. So yeah, let me start with a fresh sphere. So I just take a basic sphere. By default, it comes with a wax kind of material. So I'll turn it to more of a basic material, which looks like a clay. And then yeah, so while doing traditional medium, always they have to work on both the sides. For example, someone doing some stuff, so they have to work on one side, adding eyebrows, and another side they add eyebrows, and then they remove the shape for the eyes. So they used to work on both the sides actually. That's how the traditional medium works. But in 3D we don't do that. You can have the symmetry option. Like most of the software has symmetry. Yeah, you just need to work on one side. Yeah, it'll instantly work on the other side. If you can see, there's a 2 pointers on either side, right? So I can, whatever I do, yeah, see, it's just coming on both the sides. So I just need to work on only one side. Automatically, other side also going to get affected. Yeah. So before I start anything, so what I do is I just try to get the basic shape of it. Let's say this guy I want to sculpt. So in the last class, if you guys remember, I talked about the shape of the skull. It's pretty much like in a sphere, right? So from there only we'll be taking all the shapes. Yeah, right? Like this. So I'll take the same sphere. I'll try to do some sort of push and pull to get the shape. You guys remember? So there's a slice on the side. So right now I'm using a tool called Move tool. So it's help you to just push and pull, push and pull. So that way you can get all the shapes. I'm just pushing on either side to get a basic shape. So I got some sort of skull shape here. Let me have the epic pen also. I can show what I'm doing. Pardon my drawing, so it might be very rough. Just imagine that's a sphere. I was trying to slice either side so that I get this basic shape like this. That's what you see into the Zbrush screen. So from here, I'm going to do the extension of the face. Right. So if you see the head from side view, that's a slice which you see here, right? What you see on this side, the sphere. So we just need to extend the face down to get the shape and the neck. So this is my first goal. Before even going to do the detail of eye, nose or anything, first I'm trying to get the basic shape of the head. That should be like the first goal. So once that's done, and then step by step, we'll go into the features and the details. So if you guys remember the last class, I was showing you I was doing a sphere, and I was doing a semicircle and splitting it 4 quarters, and I'm trying to draw something like this, right? And then if you remember, on top of that, I'm just doing a little more detail for the skull and then the eyebrow. So from there, I got the nose, eye details, ear details. Then we go for hair, right? It's pretty much like that. Yeah. So we have side slices on, and I'm just pulling the jaw down, right? So this helps you to increase the brush size and reduce the brush size. By pressing space bar, I'll get access to the tools, especially the brush tool. You can increase the size how big you want. If you want to move bigger shapes, you can move bigger. If you want bigger, smaller, just moving from here. And then the front, if you see the chin is a little bit narrow, I'm trying to make it more narrow. Again, if you remember the circle, the slice, eyebrow line, center line of the face, front plane of the face, side plane of the face, and then neck, right? Yeah, that's exactly next I'm gonna do it. So you just need to remember these shapes. Yeah. So now I'm going to use another brush. So I have the move brush to get basic shapes. Now there's something called damn standard. So what it does is, it'll make sharp lines. If you want to do any cut, in traditional medium also, they have the tool, a simple wooden tool, or you must have seen dentists having some tools to clean the teeth, like really sharp tool, something like that also they use. So basically this is what it does actually. It just cut the surface. So same thing how I'm doing is, there is something called Z add and Z sub. Sub means it's subdividing, it's removing actually. Add means it is doing opposite of it. See, sub, it's like removing. Add is just adding actually, right? So that one, how do you access this? By default, if you add the Z sub, yeah, it removes. If you just hold Alt, it'll add actually. Yeah. So what I do is I'm trying to get the plane change line here. Inside. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the plane change for the front face. So you can see the shadow difference for the front and side. So now I feel jaw is like enough too big. So that's why it's so important to practice basic sketching, basic anatomy. If you guys remember, the side will be mostly like this. The center of the side face, that's where your jaw ends actually. So you can see I have so much of excess geometry for the jaw. So I have to remove all these pieces actually. I have to get rid of that piece. Yeah, so this is like in the basic shape of the skull, right? So the teeth comes here, yeah, a jaw comes here, the here. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how the jaw comes actually, from here. So from here you have that the spinal cord goes back, right? Yeah. So I have to remove some excess geometry from here. Yeah. So I'm trying to push those volume more inside. I want to get it on the exact center of the side view of the face. Now I need a little bit more clay to fill these empty space, right? I need more clay here. So what I do is, I shown you guys two brushes. One is move, other one is damp standard. So standard is to add those lines, damp standard. So I'm just trying one more tool called clay buildup. So it will keep building the clay on top of your geometry. See, I'm just painting this. It's filling inside. Yeah, I'm just filling the space with more clay. Now the clay has been filled inside. Yeah. So what's next? What's next? If you guys remember last class, what I done after this stage.
Creating the part of the eyebrows and nose.
Yeah. Let's go for it. So how to create the eyebrows and nose. So now so this is the portion, center line, right? We need the eyebrow. So I'm just making a mark on where I need an eyebrow and for the nose. So now what I need a cavity to fit the eye inside, right? So the same clay brush, how I'm adding, if I use the reverse, it will remove actually. So I'm trying to remove the clay from the face. So now you feel it looks too much of like, uh, jagged, lot of uh, pixelated sort of feel you get here, right? Which means the current geometry doesn't have enough tessellation to show like a smooth display of it. So for that thing, we need to subdivide this to have more polygons, so it looks much more softer. Again, I don't want to get too technical about it. This purely a demo of like sculpting a head. Yeah. So see, I'm doing a little bit of cavity. It's pretty much like how you do the skull. Maybe let me take this one. Yeah, let's keep this not so good. It's okay. What should I say? I think I have skulls already. Okay, I'll say there. Okay, just a minute, guys. Okay, so you can see the right hand side image as a cavity for eye socket to fit in. That's the thing I'm doing right now. So next, nose, right? See, when we're doing initial thing, I don't even like look at the reference what I have, because the skull is kind of common for everyone. Of course, it will have like different shapes according to the facial features. But until I get like a very basic skull, it doesn't matter. So next I'm like building the nose. Yeah, at the beginning when you're sculpting, it might look really, really crude and very bad. So yeah, that's how it's going to look like. So don't worry. So you keep working on it. It'll get better. Yeah. Image. Yeah. So if you look at that, he has got a really, really strong nose, right? I'm trying to pull the nose slightly down. So it looks side view is fine, but the front view looks very narrow. So I just need to make it slightly wider in this portion. So this is exactly the process what a clay sculpting artist will do. You know. quickly play something.
A lot of times I used to get very nervous speaking to overseas clients because I couldn't understand what they.
See, they start with like very, very basic clay.
Okay, it's just way more plastic and it's a lot easier to work with, and the consistency is
This is pretty much like, sphere she's making.
a likeness.
And then see, overall shapes
When I'm
she's trying to
taking
get.
measurements, I use my
At the basic shape, like what we are doing. Yeah, it's taking the measurements from the actual guy. Since we're working digital, it's easy to get the measurements. See? She carved the eye shape and slowly bringing the nose shape outside, right? And slowly she start building the hair and other stuff. Only the final, they go for detail, right? So it's the process is pretty much same like, how a traditional sculpting works. Yeah. Yeah, only thing, our hands don't get dirty here, but, and then yes, you can work just only one side, other side will be taken care of automatically. I'm trying to add some volume to this zygomatic bone. How she's adding clay manually. Same thing I'm trying to add in Zbrush. Because this guy has a really strong cheek bone, right? Zygomatic bone, so I'm trying to add more volume for that. So I subdivided one more time to get even more smoother. Yeah. And I need to build a little more volume for the nose. So keep adding. It's always very tempting to go to details, but yeah, don't go for details. Just stay focused on the basic shapes. See, I'm using the dam standard, the line tool to define the nostrils. And I'm just roughly making a mark where the lip's supposed to come, right? Yeah. And if you see the mouth area is like really flat. So I'm trying to make it a little more rounder. See, I'm doing a removal method. I'm removing some stuff from here, right? Yeah. So don't worry about end result when you're sculpting. Just enjoy the process. Just think that you're learning something new today. Like, how can you get a good result? Just think about it, and just you keep work on it. Like I'm just trying to think, okay, I'm gonna learn something new. Now I'm gonna get that result. Just think that and work on. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do a lip. If you see the shape, it's sort of like this, right? That's the lip supposed to come, right? That's the lower lip. Yeah, that shadow, this depth I'm trying to sculpt. So keep checking, in a different views, how does it comes. Now I feel the mouth looks too flat. I try to pull it slightly outside because you guys remember, right? The denture, the whole teeth is inside. You have to show that shape. I'll pull slightly out. I'm trying to refine the corners of the lip, and you can see nasolabial furrow, the nose crease. This mostly you see this for like a young people when they're smiling, but when you get old, so these become prominent by default. And pushing more inside. So if you see the nose, it's not just staying on top of it. The same thing I talked in the art class also. So almost off of your nostril, stay inside. Let's say this is the facial surface, right? So see 50, 50. 50% inside, 50% outside. See the nose, right? So it should be something like this. The nostril should come somewhere here. Right? So the crease should come somewhere here. Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. 50%, 50%. Yeah. Okay. So to get that, I'm trying to push all these slightly inside. So if you want to become a really good 3D sculptor or an artist, yeah, so learn the fundamentals. Just learning is not enough. Practice. Yeah. So you should do a lot of practice for this. So that's how you become a better artist. You have to do hundreds of head drawing or sculpting. You have to keep drawing a lot of stuff actually. You have to become better sculptor. Yeah, just set a practice that okay, I'm gonna do a sculpt in 1 hour. Just plan only that. See how much you can do in an hour actually. So and then you stop. So next day you start another 1 hour. So probably some people can do only this much in 1 hour. They cannot do beyond that because this is going to take a lot of time actually. It's like that. So every day you keep practicing, then definitely the result will come. I have students they really improve. I had a guy, I forgot his name. When he came, his drawing skill was very, very bad, and anatomy knowledge was very poor. But he's so desperate that he wanted to become a better artist. He used to work in a studio. He used to come to our institute after office hours. He come in the evening 7 o'clock, and work for a couple of hours. He'll go back to studio, work for till 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, and then come in the night, and again, you practice. So I didn't have any hope that whether he really can become a better artist. First of all, he didn't have enough time to practice. Second thing, yeah, his anatomy skills are very bad. I didn't have any hope at all. So we used to do very bad sculpts in the beginning, but still we used to always keep encouraging people because we never know who will surprise you. So that way, that guy was kept on practicing, and then I was checking the progress. The fourth portrait, fifth portrait was getting better, day by day, day by day. And one fine day, he showed me 11th or 12th portrait, I think. So he did such a wonderful job, actually. It almost like did like an amazing, beautiful sculpt. Yeah. So only way the key is the practice, you know. So practice like, makes you perfect. So just having the knowledge won't take you anywhere. Yeah. So you take your pencil and then draw, or take a clay and then do sculpt, or use Zbrush or whatever to get the thing. Yeah. So some sort of like volume we got right. So try to add a little bit of cheek bone volume here. Yeah. So now we'll have a little bit of volume for the eyebrow. Look at him. He has got like really nice, strong eyebrow details. Right. Right. Really strong eyebrow details he has got. So let's see how can we get that eyebrow detail here. We got the basic nose shape. Now we have to get that eyebrow. And then I will keep a sphere and work on the eyebrow. So you can check here, there's a nice bulge happening here. That's your forehead, a nice bulge for your eyebrows, a muzzle here, right? And then goes inside. So let's see how can we get that. So I'm not using any fancy tool. I'm just using the basic clay build-up tool to keep building clay. It's pretty much like I'm doing drawing, right? It's the same way I'm doing it. I'm not using any fancy tools. That's why it's so important to master basic anatomy. Okay. So because of this serious eyebrow, there's a furrow pinch happening here. You can do it when you do like squint your eyebrows. It creates a like pinch here actually, so that gives like more serious guy feel. Yeah. Just trying to add that. Yeah. So next, I notice the skull. It looks very basic, more like sphere. How do we do that? Is it the like shape of the skull? Sort of yes, but yeah, that's not enough. So if you see the proper skull from this drawing, see forehead is more straight, and then this angle change. It goes more like this. So there's a straight line here. There's an angle change. There's an angle change. It goes down. It goes into the neck. So it's no longer a circle shape. So yeah, that's eyebrow. It goes slightly above. That's where there's an angle change happening. It's going more backside. Yeah, from side view, the skull is always elongated actually. So we have to add that. So this is where your skull ends. There's a small bone called mastoid process. That's where your ear hole is. So where your eyebrow is, that's where the ear comes. So bottom of your nose, the ear ends. Yeah. The spine goes like that. And your neck muscles goes that way. There's a muscle come from this, from mastoid process to the sternum bone that comes more like this actually. Can you see that there's a muscle going down, right? That goes and connects to your collarbone actually. Yeah. Yeah. So now let's see how can we get this shape for the skull. You take the move tool. I'm just grabbing it backside to match the shape. So these two corners are really important, especially for male characters. So these two ends will be really prominent. Yeah, this portion. Can you see some highlight there? Some highlight. Right. That's what I'm trying to achieve. That's called frontal eminence. So that's a frontal bone. The skull, a lot of bones are there. So this is called frontal bone. Yeah, if you see, I just pulled only side, but in the middle it wasn't pulled actually. So there's a lot of loss of volume there. I have to fill that. Can you see that? I have to fill that actually. So slightly, I do some sculpt there actually. This is called temporal. The process is always really fun because you're trying to apply all the learnings. Yeah, that's called temporal. This whole region. Frontal, the front part of the skull. Yeah. Parietal, occipital. These are the major parts of skull. Yeah, if you know the name, it's much easier for you to communicate. Yeah, keep asking questions if you guys have any. Okay, some sort of skull shape is ready. Right. So now let's fix the eyes. So like how the traditional sculptor building the eye, same way what I do is, let me save this. Mm. Mm. just beginner artist has to know Maya software before knowing ZBrush? I would say yes, because as I told you, ZBrush is still industry standard software. It's really important to know Maya, because ZBrush will help you to shorten the process, but end of the day, the pipeline tool is Maya. So it's really important to know Maya, because this will help you to initial work faster, but again the final output what you're supposed to get should be in Maya. So you should know how to convert your ZBrush model into a Maya model to make it production friendly. I'm just figuring out the placement of the eyeball. Yeah, that looks kind of okay, because most of the time starting of the eye and then the end of the nose lines up vertically. What I mean is, so let's say we have an eye, right? So it's the start of your eye. Your end of the nose. So these two should be the same line actually. Yeah. If that's falling properly, which means your placement of eye is correct. Yeah. So I might change, but as of now, this is a good place to start with. I'm trying to mirror this. Yeah. So you got the eyes on either side. So now what I need to do? What I'm supposed to do next?
The eyelids.
Yes. So how to carve the eyelids? We got the eyeballs right now. On top of that, eyelids. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. Just again. So I always keep checking. So all these things. So all these things should be in your memory, the eye shape or whatever. Then it's easy to carve what you want. Right. If this is clear for you, you know what to carve or what to sculpt. Yeah. So I'll try to build some volume there. So just by building clay and pulling the lid outward. I'm using damp standard to define the eyelids. Same thing for lower lid also. Why do I just hide the eyeballs? Yeah, it looks very messy, but don't worry. If you know what you want to achieve, you'll get it. So I'm checking on the other side of the eyeball and building this. Sometimes I use move tool to bring the things outside. Yeah, it looks bad. It's okay. So now I'm defining the upper lid. Slightly down, and the lid is it's a gap, and its lower lid has some sort of squint. It's almost like, you know, straight, right? And squint expression is not. So now I notice his eyebrows are like much more kind of calm state. So I wanted to give more intense. To get that intense expression. Yeah, I'm defining the eye bag. I'm filling some more clay in these areas. So next, here, so what I can do is a lot of like really cool features Zbrush has got to make things much faster. This one of that. I'm just masking the place where I want that here. Make it more sharper. So it will freeze the area which is darker. So only this shape comes out. Right, you can see that. Just a minute. Okay. So I'm just adding more volume here. There's so much to learn on every part of the face. Even the ear also, there's so much things to learn. You see, the shape is like really complicated actually. There's a lot of in and out going on there, and you should know their names, how do they go, how do they connect. A lot of things to learn. Again, the demo I don't have time to like teach or talk about, but I'm just talking about the major shapes. The outermost what I'm sculpting right now is called Helix. That's like the major shape of the ear. And then, so if you see the front view, the ear is like really sticking out, right? So try to pull out. This one next to it called anti-helix, which is very next to it. What I'm sculpting right now, tragus. This is very next to that, called anti-tragus. The inside depth is called concha. Yeah, just go on, like, learn all those things. It's really fun to know their names and shape. Let's say I got like a very rough shape. That should be like really deep in that area. So I'm going to do dam standard a little bit more depth. See, these are the best part, in Zbrush. You can go to low res and then do all those details. And come to high res to see them, how do they look like. But these are all very, very difficult when you do things in a traditional medium. And then you cannot rotate your model like how crazily I'm rotating right now. The model will be, one pose. You have to go around the model to get those details actually, right? If you see this video, see, it will be the same pose. She has to go like, around the model to get the detail, Okay. See how carefully they have to work on stuff. So every angle they have to go and add volumes actually. There's so much of observation and so much of patience required. These might take, the whole day actually to get the proper detail. Yeah, that's kind of more of what the tool she's using. That's kind of like, damn standard to like, remove pieces or carve and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Where you see brush, yes, there you go. Is it getting saved or crashing? I think it's getting saved. Let's wait. Great. Yeah. So now I got like very rough shape, but still it's not looking like the person. So what I'm going to do is quickly, I'm going to import that image plane into Zbrush, the image into Zbrush, and then try to match the proportions. There is some option to do that. I'll go to draw. I'll pin this to this window. There's something called floor, front and back. I'm loading the image here. So where did I see? I don't know where I saved it. I just try to stay in the same folder. I did see this desktop. 01. Yes. Importing image from desktop or 01. Yes. So I got the image inside a ZBrush actually. Yeah. So now I can move the image left and right. Right. I'm moving to left hand side. Vertically I'm moving to match. I can slightly scale it. Okay. I can make a model more transparent to see the model. Scale down a little bit. Vertically moving down. And then horizontally moving. I think not bad. It's kind of matching. Yeah. So now we have to see how closely we can match this. So making my model more transparent so that I can match even more closer. I think my skull volume is too high. I'm trying to reduce it. Yeah, the front temporal bone also fine. Yeah. Just the eyebrow need to be little more down to get that intense seriousness feel to the eyebrow. Yeah. I'm slowly matching the eye shape also. I think our eye was too big. So these are the biggest advantages of digital medium. It's easy to get as close as possible. In traditional medium, you have to observe and then you have to get those results. It's very, very challenging. You notice nose is slightly shorter. I have to bring the nose more down. Guys, we have another 15 minutes. I have another meeting to attend. So we might not have time for a Q&A. So probably you can ask your questions right now. So I'll answer them while finishing this sculpt. Any questions about the sculpting?
Sir, I have a very silly question. Are you using the default focal shift and that intensity?
Focal shift in the sense?
The inner circle, na?
Oh, for the brush you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yes. By default, I don't change at all. Yeah. It's a move tool. By default, it works really well. I don't change too much. Yeah. Just only I play with the move tool size, the brush size, bigger and small. Only that I used to play with. Any other question, guys?
So, how would you go about an asymmetrical face?
That's a good question. Yeah. So the moment you make it asymmetrical, it's difficult to take it further. So what I do is I keep the asymmetrical to the last. So I go almost 90% symmetrical to get up, because I don't like the sculpt on both the sides, right? I'll go symmetrical as much as possible until I get the shape. Almost 90%. Then wherever I need asymmetrical, I just go there and then make it asymmetrical. For example, if you notice, let's say our sculpt is done, and I want to have some asymmetrical. So then I turn off the symmetry tool. I try to slightly push this nose like this, slightly. The shape of the lip can be asymmetrical, right? Maybe the eyebrow, maybe a little more intense. The eyes might be more closing, right? So those I'll do it in the last actually. But at least 90% I'll go with symmetrical to finish the sculpt. Yeah. Next is, so now on it's the fun part, just adding the details to the sculpt actually. Now I like how I was doing the shading the last class. The same way I'm just using that, adding sculpt tool to add subtle volumes. Oops, I'm supposed to do with the symmetry. Okay, do symmetry more. Yes, any other question, guys?
So, if you were making a realistic, a hyper-realistic head, then how would you create details such as pores and small bumps and all those small details?
Okay, so that's a another important thing. Yeah, for these sculpts, we don't go into that detail. For hyper-realistic, yes, we go into that detail. So first of all, right now the subdivision level is must be 4. If I'm not wrong, let me check. Geometry. Yeah, I have around 5 levels. So probably on 6th level, yeah, that much of these things required to go for the course. So those things, you have some ready-made brushes here, in the Zbrush. You can just have different tool to have this kind of course actually. Yeah. So this is how they do it. They're the different brushes. So you need to play with the intensity, and then you can have these course in the final. But this should be done once your final sculpt is done actually. And even for these pores, what I'm doing is I'm just using some default all custom ZBrush. But there are a lot of free skin pores are available on internet. So you can have those pores once you're done. You can so carefully, tastefully, use those all cost to get the result of what you want. That's how they do it. That's the final stage. And again, that one, we do it in a layer actually, like how in Photoshop we use layers. Similarly, we use sculpt all this in layer. Just in case if the art director feels, hey, no, the pores are too much, can you reduce it by 50%, reduce the intensity or reduce the density, whatever feedback. It's easy to change if it's in a layer actually.
Sir, how can we see the topology in ZBrush?
This is what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the shortcut is Shift F to see the wireframe.
Okay.
There's something should be here. Yeah, something called polyframe.
Polyframe.
Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So Shift F is shortcut to see the wireframe. Right now you can see this is pretty much gridded topology because it's made out of sphere, right? Yeah, later we can do retopo in Maya or in ZBrush to get a proper topology. I have to go to really close up, and then you have to observe the details. You have to keep checking in all different angles to see are you getting the right volume or not. It might look good in one view. When you got other view, it might look too much. Then you should know how much to reduce. If you see, most of the time I'm just playing only with just 3 tools. I'm not going beyond that. I'm trying to get these wrinkles on the forehead slightly. I'm not just doing a sharp line. Like how we are doing in a pencil, we use the intensity slightly higher and lower. So same way, I'm playing with intensity higher and lower. Probably later I erase this to make it more asymmetrical. And you cannot just do a sculpt with one image. So you should have, like, a proper reference board. What I mean is you should have a lot of realistic reference like this, in a similar age people. So you have a lot of references, all the different angles, and then yeah. So using those details, you should do it. For example, like the bottom to top, you should know how does the nostrils looks. So accordingly, you have to do that. So for that thing, yeah, you definitely need a lot of references. Again, switching, that's a nice volume there. Pretty much like sketching. So adding some volume and then applying smooth on top of it. There's so much of volume in this area. So keep checking all the angles. How does it look? So check from side profile. We're getting it or not. Now I notice the nose shape is different. I have to push it inside, and then the forehead is much more volume. I'm just trying to pull out. You have to see your model in all weird angles. And some more volume there. So you have to check all these things. Right now it looks like too much of depth. So I have to fill it with some clay. That's why it's so important to check from all the angles to see is it working properly or not. Because I was adding more clay here, the front view was bulging too much, right? So immediately you have to come to front view and then slightly adjust that because she's got like really, really sharp jaw angle. So you have to maintain that. Sometimes what I do is once I reach this level, I do Z remeasure actually. So by doing Z remeasure, what happens? I'll get a proper topology according to the shapes and forms. Then it's easy for me to do further details. For example, here the crease is diagonal, but the flow is horizontal. It might not give a good result. So that way, I just probably I'll just duplicate this just in case. Yeah. Highest level. Let's go for Dynamesh. Yeah, Dynamesh. I just go with with a default thing or Z remeasure. Sorry, Z remeasure is the correct one. Adapt. Yeah, same. So it's processing. I think probably we might need to do one more session, like continuation of this, right? We got the basic shapes, how to do detail from here. Probably we'll do one more session. So I'll show you guys how do I do the finishing for these things. Like one of the student asked, how do we add those, the micro details like pores and stuff. Yeah. Okay, right now I got like very rough topology. Yeah, that's okay. So just subdivide a few times because I lost a lot of details, right? So I try to get those details from the original sculpt. So there's something called, again, I'm not teaching the technical part and what are the process I follow. So now what it do is the Z remeasure, I got a decent topology according to the shape of the face, but I lost the details, right? So I'm trying to project my current mesh with the proper topology to the original sculpt which I have. So to try to project into that shape, it will get the original shape, but with a new topology that will allow me to do a little more detail to it. Yeah. It will take some time.
Sir?
Yes.
So when do I decide between Z remeasure and Dynamesh?
Z remeasure dynamics. So Z remeasure, it's mostly to get the topology according to the face. You know what I mean? So in Maya, how do we do the topology? So the topology has to be more like this, right?